Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about this vertical stabilizer and the ribs. Very specifically, the ribs that sit up here in the nose of the skin. And as I mentioned in my other videos, I had read about it on Vans several years ago. I had read about it in the front matter of the manual, and so when it came to this, putting the two components together for the first time, I kind of spaced on it. And part of me was thinking surely this was no longer an issue, but after thinking about what's going on and rereading the manual, and by the way, what we're talking about is in section 5.2 continued, down on page 5.3, at least for this manual version, it's 5.3. And basically it's talking about rib faceting. So what happens is, and a lot of people have done this, in fact it's almost something that is done by everybody who's a first-time builder. I think only maybe repeat offenders. They probably did it on their first aircraft, but not their second and third aircraft. Anyway, you go to put this on the frame and you bend it down, and part of what you want to do is start at the nose and evenly cleco back on both sides. Although some people said they were able to start at the back and work forward, but the main thing is you want to read about rib faceting in the manual before you do that step. And I'm surprised there's not a note to remind people of that in the first time they do it. At least the first time. Like, it would be so easy to say, hey, note. Kind of like every time they talk about machine countersinking, they refer you to section 5E, which is now called something else. But it's easy to find if you use the table of contents at the beginning of section 5. Anyway, it would be really easy to say, like, note, before you do this, check out 5.3 on and read about rib faceting. And basically what happens is, when the ribs are made, you have to imagine them as a flat piece. They stamp out these cuts in here to allow the flange to bend up, and then they bend the flange up. And so what happens is you kind of have a not so straight or smooth curve through here. And I didn't notice it so much back here, but according to the manual, you could get these edges of the flange poking into your skin, causing not only a stress point for one thing, but also causing dents in your skin when you cleco the skin to the ribs for the first time. And it'll get easier and easier to cleco because you won't be forming metal the second and third time you cleco it down. So they talk about going in and faceting these faces here so you're not pushing on the skin causing a dent. Where it's most noticeable is up here. So when this gets bent down, it forms a pretty sharp corner here that actually is protruding out in a bad place. So when you push the skin down, you get a dent. And I have one here, here, and a slight one up here. So all three positions had this happen. And everybody has talked about on Vans, like, hey, go in and knock that down with sandpaper or a 3M wheel or something. And some of them heavily facet this. They grind away a good amount. So hopefully you find this video before you do that, and make sure you don't make the same mistake I have and so many other people have. And Vans, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, who knows, maybe someday you will, please stick a note in there so idiots like me that have read the manual like weeks in advance to get into the step, don't forget to do it before they mess up their skin. And I say mess up, but that's kind of a harsh word, because the second part of this video that we're about to move into is, once you do that, what do? Because you don't want that out there. And I had kind of thought, oh, I have some hammers and dollies and stuff for metal work, like just tap it back in. But I learned a better trick, and hopefully it works here, where basically you take a spoon, take the back side of that spoon, coat the metal and maybe the spoon both in oil. I'm going to be using a spoon that I want to eat with later, so I'll probably be using some olive oil. I don't think oil tag matters. And then put this on your bench, or put something hard behind it, like your bucking bar, something nice and flat. And then take that spoon and put pressure on it and basically smooth that dent back down. So there is hope. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. So just in case you're wondering, I'm going to be using vegetable oil, mainly because I try to avoid cooking with this stuff, so got to use it somewhere. We'll put a little bit here on the skin and put a good coat on our spoon. And I'm going to use the bucking bar just so I don't have to try to get in there on the table. That one was a little bit easier to remove. You are going to scratch up the aluminum while doing this, even with the oil on the spoon, so just be prepared for that. And I can tell you, don't want to have to do this. I'm having to put a lot of pressure into this spoon to take care of those dents. So it's a lot easier just to remember to facet the ribs like it's says in plans. And that's it. I don't have a close-up before and after picture, but it does work. It's roughed up a little bit here, not much. I mean, I can't even feel anything. It doesn't look shiny anymore, is basically all it is. And but the most important thing is that dent that I put in there is most definitely gone. So if you forget to read it and you notice that you put a dent in your skin, spoon and some oil, any type of oil, and your bucking bar for a flat surface will get that out. You just hold the bucking bar up there tight against the skin and then mash down with the spoon and work it around. So you mash outside the dent and then kind of like push into the dent, and that's going to push that metal back into place. It is going to take a tremendous amount of pressure. It would almost been better if I could have like 2 people or put the bucking bar on the bench and push down on it and get some of my body weight behind it. So if you're smaller or a little bit weaker, you might have to do it that way. So hopefully you come across this video before you make this mistake, but if you have, hopefully this video helps you know what to do about it and how to fix it. I'm not going to show you how to facet the ribs in here because I'll just do that as part of the build before I stick everything back together, and the manual covers it pretty good, so I don't feel like I need to get that in depth into it. Other than that, hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to get notified as I upload new videos, hit the subscribe button. And thanks for watching this one. Hopefully it helps you out and keeps some guys from making the same mistake that I have.